And this card indicates she still got out of a trap and whole. Still tired, back bent, but she got out of the trap. Or maybe when she got out of this trap, it was another motherfucking trap. Welcome back to your video. We are about to get started, and firstly, thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely appreciate that. If and when it resonates, don't be shy to hit that like button. It's like giving an energy boost to the channel to keep us in the algorithm. If you would like more information about products and services, you can go to astronauthoochie.etsy.com, check the description box, or look at the about section here on YouTube on the channel. This message gets very specific, and I was like, I'm going to take my time with it. I won't shuffle out 30 cards. I don't want to go too fast. And it's more of an intuitive, like, channeling for some. Now, I will state the obvious that starting with the Eight of Pentacles, it definitely may be about work. And the Ten of Wands right next to it does talk about, like, the great work. And I feel for many of you, you are in a literal or spiritual, emotional in between, because this Ten of Wands, her body language is giving me like the despair in the Five of Pentacles. And I've noticed that you have halves and wholes. 25 stuck out to me with this beautiful Amber Ripples card, which is the beautiful lion. And I thought of 2 5s. And then you have 29 here, which is 12 connected to the Hangman. It also, I'm sorry, 11, which is a 2. Sorry about that. So there's a lot of 2s. And then, like I said, 5 is like half of the 10. And I just felt, for some reason, intuitively, like 4s, 8s, 5, 10s, 2s. So it definitely gave a whole picture and then like half of it. And I can understand how it feels, and her body language is showing me what it feels like if we give our all or our whole within a situation, toward a project or in a relationship or friendship or in life in general. And I mean, you are diligent with it, your craftsmanship, mastery. And you shouldn't be looking like this. Okay, firstly, when the strength card comes up, I know for a fact that strength is required. A test of the ego may be present. At the bottom of the deck, the 3, the orcas popped up, and I did mention them in a previous reading. They poked out in a shuffle, and here they are at the bottom of the deck, so I was like, I gotta show them. This card says, like the orca in its pod, I value my connections, nurturing life's challenges into shared victories. So one person, at least, possibly you, or cross-watcher, you, when you value your connections with this water energy coming up, I'm thinking about the King of Cups, who is very supportive, at sometimes a passive aggression, and having like a Pisces, Mars, or water fire can do that to us. This could be in business dealings. It may deal with financials, or for others of us, it just talks about the sacrifice that you or someone may give to a situation, project, life itself, and how that feels if it isn't reciprocated, if it leaves you high and dry, or when your energy may be depleted. Because I know my lion may be connected to our solar plexus and our sacral energy. So shared victory, because you value connections, I would just like to see and make sure that that's being reciprocated. The challenging card in the center is a 10. Tens are endings and beginnings. So whatever trap we're in, whether it's work related, finance related, or a karmic contract with someone, that may be a matter of the past and the near future for some of you, and could already be in the past. However, when I looked at the 10 of Wands, in this deck, the 8 of Wands is the chandelier going back and forth, okay? This one, it's a steady center. And the only way for it to move is if she moves. So it's like physical motion or some sort of labor where she has to do the work. And it's like, could this not have been simpler? Is there not a button? And where is everybody else at? Each individual outside of the orcas are in the cards themselves, which represents an independent or isolated person or incident. And I just couldn't get my eyes off of the fact that she has to make this chandelier move. And I feel that maybe even if she moves, it's going to drop, which is like a trap, much like in the Strength card, literally. And sometimes how work or life could feel to someone that may be on repeat, you know, like a robot where you're doing something. There may be differences in the days and the nights if this is about work or a relationship, because I think many of us could, you know, kind of attest to, you know, I had a friend when I was in the mood for friends that could talk while he was at work. But every time he got off, I noticed that we really didn't have any conversations, and I have a lot of Aquarius and Pisces in my chart. So of course I'm asking questions and getting inner nudges, and not just asking one day, why is it that when you get off work, your conversational time is limited? And he, of course, tried to make it seem like who would even think of something like that, and blase. But long story short, we never had conversations when he got off. And it didn't take me but 1 or 2 days after the initial conversation to just block him, because it didn't stop. Even when I brought it to his attention when he was off work, we still never had the conversation. We text, and there were like large gaps. So I'm like, you playing. It was just someone that I met like randomly, nothing serious, and kind of just exchange numbers in passing. So if I'm required to do the work and it feels like I have to get things moving, pull myself out of a trap, and maintain some level of consistency in my life, that may be overbearing, which is when we pull on the willpower, the solar plexus, or our guides for strength. And that's why I feel like the advice card here is the strength. So a bonus card also came out, which was the star. And if the star isn't the guide, it definitely represents in a negative or toxic love situation where there may have been admiration on one end. And I feel that your guides or ancestors could be leading you to understand through this experience what the kind of passive aggression in the shadow side of the King of Cups would have to experience, where to draw the line when it comes to work situations that may be unfair or unfavorable, because we're very supportive and we like to share. So unrequited love, an admirer of some sort. For some of you, it may even be a Leo involved in the situation, and or that King of Wands energy, who I feel like could be, in some of your opinions, very charming or attractive, and may even talk the talk of being like a husband of some sort. But there's work to be done if we are not paying attention to like the red flags, And if this situation never really moves fully forward into the future, it looks as if that's challenging. But the orcas remind us that it's kind of not. Now, as I continue to look at them, and I know you can see them too, I hold it up. It's giving Three Cups vibes, which may be a little bit, similar, if you want to see it, to, something to celebrate for those of us that remain consistent, do the work, and pull on this inner, strength to get through whatever halfway mark of turbulence that we could be in. It says winter sideways connections. Winter is too connected with despair and like this Five of Pentacles. If there's a difference in belief of some sort, and we're changing. So how we approach situations and people with our reactions, responses, or what we even entertain may be different. And in doing so, a lot of what you're used to or what you would attract is no longer attractive to you. So you're not entertaining it, but you're not fully embedded into that future you, those future connections, that future situation. So it's like a continuance of doing the work. And I know that that could be a little bit, fiery, frustrating. I wondered why for a second the Star card came out for strength, because the outcome and the advice may be different. I also know that there could be a significant storyline for some of you, and like an individual story that Spirit just wants to get out, and I'm totally cool with that because it's Spirit show. Now, for an outcome, I feel like it would be the Star card. For the advice, I feel that it would be the Strength. The Strength talks about the death to the ego and having grace with ourselves and with the situation to allow our guides to do their, work on us as we get through whatever our great work is. And like for some of you, it's the thing that's going to make you famous. It's the job that's going to make you happy or emotionally fulfilled. It's the aspect of you that may be favorable to attracting better relationships or marriage or enhancing a commitment. And the Star card is that wish fulfillment. It is being seen, being appreciated, and being praised. But it don't look like that right here. Okay? So a story that my friend told me about a king that was promised, land and civilians and just to rule or whatever. Kings have to be vetted. Much like what I'm feeling about this particular King of Wands. If that is in your situation, it's either you going through these advancements from like this King of Cups, King of Wands energy. And don't get me wrong, ladies, even though I'm referring to kings, it's not gender related. It's an archetype of behavior or where you could be on the journey, okay? So if we're elevating or changing from one aspect to another, I feel the attention and appreciation that one didn't get, embodying the characteristics and the lessons to complete that and moving to the next phase, the next you is not going to have to deal with it. I also feel that what it is you're working so hard for within yourself or through relationships and situations that may not be super favorable or absolutely comfortable, I just feel that it's your wish fulfillment that comes after what looks like despair, after what looks like one challenge after another challenge where there's obstacle courses. First, I'm sitting here looking crazy, and I decide to get up instead of working for someone else or repeating the same things that may not be working for me. I'm going to go out and do some things, and then boom, that's where the work begins. So this 10 of Wands just talks about carrying the load and kind of like mashing through, but that's the exciting, victorious aspect of the capacity the 10 of Wands has. Otherwise, it just seems like labor, work, repetition. And then without the guides or the grace or some sense of femininity and water coming into the mix, it just is a shit show. The star is the water bearer. So it does still talk about that containment that, like I said, the King of Cups would master. But I feel like that's where the wish fulfillment comes from, is the challenge and the test and the labor and your physical energy and strength, as well as for others of you where it's not despair in life due to actual labor, being underpaid and kind of over it all. It may have something to do with that unrequited lover that has you doing everything, and they just kind of like sit there repeating the same things, but you're growing as a person. You know what I'm saying? Or constantly overlooking red flags, thinking it's you and blaming yourself. Now, as I say, she's tied around the waist, right near that solar plexus, and it's a lot of pressure on it. I had the advantage, okay, of kind of like learning different creators when it came to tarot, and I love Marielle Tarot's King of Wands, because it showed me the Eight of Pentacles with some of that King of Wands energy, and here they are before us today. So perfect for me to tell this story to you. It talks about a sacrifice of some sort, and the sacrifice was like in the belly. And I'm not a religious person, even though I'm a theology major. I don't know every story all the way front to back in all of y'all's denominations, but it could be a religious thing because she's a very religious creator, and shout out to her, super cool with that. But this sacrifice, now from other experiences where it gets a little dark and mystic, the sacrifices could be much like the Eight of Cups, if these cards were blended, things that we had to move away from, things that we may have lost, and they could have happened like repeatedly, where I know through the past 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, or the pandemic, a lot of people have reported taking losses in different areas, whether it's job, home, family, friends. It's just like, what is going on? And I've seen some mysterious, like darky, folklore-y conversations about being face to face with a fear, a challenge, which could be a knucklehead that's a red flag, which could be a co-parent that was definitely a mistake, or an. And when you're in this moment of almost being devoured by life or those circumstances or those people, it's like a code phrase or something like that. And I know you're like, man, she's talking in circles and riddles. Well, what the fuck else do people do on YouTube flipping cards? Okay. But it's like, it's something about the belly where this rope is with her. And I know that the solar plexus is there. And so if we talk about sacrifices and being swallowed, it's like you have to say this word or do this thing to come out of the belly, right? And then when it comes to spirituality and some of you becoming mystic beings and strengthening your connection to source, source is the solar power. And if we connect that to the solar plexus, there's still some sort of connection where in the heat of the moment, where our back's against the wall and something may be very uncomfortable or difficult, but we still are required to take action, or almost seem as if we have to save ourselves. There's still something that can be done even if you can't move, because she never moved out of this spot, and this card indicates she still got out of a trap and whole, still tired, back bent, but she got out of the trap. Or maybe when she got out of this trap, it was another motherfucking trap, but she didn't get caught up this time. So sacrifice something that may no longer serve you. And in the end, I feel there is wish fulfillment and some sort of recognition, appreciation, a thing that you want to, I don't want to say to be glorified, but your gifts, your abilities. She this lady looks like the Queen of Cups in this deck, who pours out her cup and does something meaningful with it. And I think pouring her cup out, which may be her spiritual gifts, her intuition, her feelings for someone, her subconscious energy that keeps manifesting dust buckets, she poured that water into a plant. This Eight of Pentacles is connected to earth energy. It's very practical. It was meaningful. But that cup is her gift. It's her ability, and it's who she is. And so it's like, if I lose my identity or my strength because I thought there was something better to do with it, something more practical to help this plant, or just because I don't want it, your work, as far as like the great work, what you incarnated to be auspicious for, may be in that curse. The gift may be in the curse. So the Strength card is encouraging us, as well as the Orcas, that this victory is yours and the life challenges are acknowledged. But to get to this wish fulfillment, you may have to find the belly and the beast and kick his ass, or at the least read some books and find that code word, because I forgot what it was. And I do hope that it helps.